it was one of the most painful moments of my career, but all I could do in that moment was make myself a very solemn promise that I would never make that mistake again. The vast majority of us make the vast majority of our mistakes in this last quadrant, where we do remember to show that we care personally, because most people are actually pretty nice people, despite everything you notice on social media. But because we're so concerned about not hurting someone's feelings, we fail to tell them something they'd be better off knowing in the long run. And this I call ruinous empathy. And because this is the most common mistake, I want to kind of do a deep dive on ruinous empathy and share with you one of the most painful experiences of my career. I had just hired this guy, we'll call him Bob, and I really liked Bob a lot. He was smart, he was charming, he was funny. He would do stuff like we were at a manager offsite, we were playing one of those endless get to know you games. And which nobody really wanted to be playing. We were a startup, we were busy, we were going to all be up all night. And Bob was a guy who had the courage to raise his hand and to say, look, I can tell everyone's really stressed, and I would love it if we could do something that'll be really quick and help us get to know each other. And I've got an idea. Whatever his idea was, if it was quick, we were down with it. And he said, let's just go around the table and confess what candy our parents used when potty training us. Really weird, but really fast. Weirder yet, we all remembered. And then for the next 10 months, every time there was a tense moment in a meeting, Bob would whip out just the right piece of candy for the right person at the right moment. So we all loved Bob. He was a little quirky, but he brought some levity to the office. One problem with Bob, he was doing terrible work. I was so puzzled because he had this incredible resume. I found out much later that the problem was that Bob was smoking pot 3 times a day in the bathroom, which maybe explained all that candy that he had at all times. But I didn't know any of that at the time. All I knew is that he was handing stuff into me and there was shame in his eyes. He knew he wasn't doing very good work. And I would say something to him along the lines of, oh, Bob, you're so smart. You're so awesome. Everybody loves working with you. This is a great start. Maybe you can make it just a little bit better. So let's double click on why I said something so banal to Bob. I think part of the reason was true ruinous empathy. I really did like Bob and I really didn't want to hurt his feelings. However, if I'm honest with myself, there was more than a little bit of manipulative insincerity going on there as well, because Bob was popular on the team. And Bob also he was sensitive. And I was afraid that if I told Bob in no uncertain terms that his work wasn't nearly good enough, that he would get upset. He might even start to cry. And then everyone would think I was a big you know what. And so this goes on for 10 months. And me not really being radically candid with Bob, but me being ruinously empathetic / manipulatively insincere with Bob. And eventually the inevitable happened. And I realized that if I didn't tell Bob in no uncertain terms that his work wasn't nearly good enough. In fact, if I didn't fire Bob, that I was going to lose all my best performers, because they were sick of their deliverables being late because his deliverables were late. They were sick of not being able to do their best work because they were having to spend so much time redoing his work, and they were going to go to a different company where they could do the best work of their lives. And so I sat down with Bob to explain to him where things stood. And when I finished explaining it to him, he kind of pushed the chair back from the table. He looked me right in the eye and he said, why didn't you tell me? And as that question was going around in my head with no good answer, he looked at me again and he said, why didn't anyone tell me? I thought you all cared about me. And now I realized by not telling Bob, I thought I was being nice, but now because I hadn't told him, he agrees with me. He has to leave the company. His reputation is just shot on the team. Not so nice after all. And it was one of the most painful moments of my career, but all I could do in that moment was make myself a very solemn promise that I would never make that mistake again, and that I would do everything in my power to help other people avoid making that mistake, because it is one of the most common mistakes that we make at work. And that is really why I came up with a framework, why I wrote the book, and why I'm here talking to all of you all today.